Wrestling fans, welcome to another edition of TNA Review, brought to you by UnifiedWrestling.com and 123wrestling.co.uk. As always, I'm your host, Caesar Scorpio. Follow me on Twitter, at the Caesar Scorpio. What's taking you so long? Come on. Anyway, this episode of Impact begins March 8, 2012, with Garrett Jarrett rolling into the Impact Zone, stating he has no regrets. He's not going to stop wrestling for anybody. Doesn't matter that Ric Flair told him to stop. He's going to regret it. Stop coming into his world. This is my world. This is a squirrel trying to get a nut. He didn't say all that, but we know what he meant here. Anyway, he mentions he is not afraid. He's his own man, and he's not going to stop wrestling. Good for you, Garrett Jarrett. Once that happens, first thing happens on the actual show is here comes the crew. We got Ric Flair, we got Eric Bischoff, and we have Gunner stating that this is going to be a match set up. We're going to have Gunner versus an opponent of his choice versus Garrett Jarrett and an opponent of his choice. Okay, he didn't want to listen? Now it's time to pay the piper. No pun intended there. No pun intended at all. Anyway, here comes the man that they were calling out. Here comes Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle rolls out and says, I hate Garrett Jarrett. I definitely want to whoop on him. And that's going to happen later. Pick your partner of your choice, but it doesn't even matter. You're going down. Which, wow, what a team, right? Gunner and Kurt Angle. Woo, we'll see what happens with that. After that, we're a little segment here where Sting is just cutting it loose. He's got... yeah, that kind of thing going on with Sting right there. Mentions, Bobby, oh, I can't wait to fight you, Bobby. Looking into a mirror, just as Eric Young rolls up and kind of doesn't want to interfere, but tries to mention, Sting, I kind of want to talk to you about possibly having a little moment with ODB in the ring later tonight. Sting says, I like the idea. You and ODB for the knockout titles. Didn't say all that, but whatever. Like the idea of TNA having a mixed knockout championship. Now, not really fair, alright, but it's entertaining to see. So, we'll take it from there. After that, we have the first match of the night. It is for the knockout championships. It is ODB and Eric Young versus Gail Kim and Madison Rayne. This was pretty entertaining, alright? Seemed like it was going to be something that was going to be bland, but how can it be bland with Eric Young? He's the king of fun, and he's the ultimate entertainer in this case. So Eric Young ends up winning this match after we have Madison Rayne clubbing Eric Young with the championship belt. He falls very conveniently on top of Gail Kim. She's got her legs open, kicking and screaming. He's so-called passed out. Again, he's in his underoos, all right, like he usually does when he strips out of his shorts. And count 1, 2, 3. There you go. New KO champions. Wow. ODB and Eric Young. Now, ODB is celebrating her newly acquired championship as Eric Young looks around, gets down on one knee, and proposes, will you marry me? The guy even breaks out a ring out of his chonies. Where did he get that ring from? Has he got pockets on the inside lining? Probably. But he brings out the ring and says, will you marry me? And she turns around, thinks about it for a little while, grabs the ring, gets down on one knee herself, and asks him, will you marry me? Of course, he says yes. He runs around in the ring like he normally does. And there you go. Newly engaged ODB and Eric Young. Hopefully this lasts longer than Kim Kardashian's marriage. Anyway, let's get started here with what happens after that. We actually have a little segment here where Joseph Parks comes into the Impact Zone looking for his brother Abyss. According to the script, Joseph Parks is Abyss's brother. Right? You don't sound anything like Abyss. You don't look anything like Abyss. Even though you're wearing a suit and tie and you got a haircut, you look nothing like Abyss. Not really. I'm being sarcastic. The guy looks just like Abyss. He sounds like Abyss. It's Abyss cleaned up. Alright? Joseph Parks is looking for his brother and basically looks around everywhere the Impact Zone for any information that any of these superstars may have on the disappearance. Okay, it was entertaining to see. Alright? Here we go. Abyss cleaned up. Looking really clean. Joseph Parks, okay. Abyss, whatever you say. Alright. Anyway, once that transpires, we have match number 2. This is Austin Aries versus Zema Iron. Now, I know what you were thinking. Victory Road, we're going to have this match during Victory Road, right? We're still expecting it, but for some reason, they felt it was necessary to show this match on this edition of Impact, which they did. This match ends when Zema Iron is about to use the spray can on Austin Aries' face, but doesn't work. Austin Aries takes it away, sprays it in Zema's face, and it works. But it's also seen by the referee. DQ. Win goes to Zema Ion, and for more reason, Zema Ion should be the #1 contender. Now, this match should also be on the pay-per-view Victory Road. We expect it to be there. If it's not on the card, shame on you, TNA. Shame on you. This match is too good to pass up. This is main event material right here. But anyway, let's move on. Next, we have match number 3. Bully Ray comes out, advises Sting, come out here, Sting. I want to be the #1 contender. I want Rude. Sting, fresh off his little rant here with Eric Young, comes out and says, yeah, I like the idea. You and Rude. Let's do it. I like it. I knew you'd give me what I want. Yes, I will. And the match is next. Then he mentions to Rude when Rude starts crying and whining that, hold on, buddy, it's not a title match. So it's not a title match, but nonetheless, it's a match. So here we go. Oh, it's funny. Bully Ray and Bobby Roode are basically going back and forth. A little entertaining here, but it really gets fun when we have James Storm come out, give the sweet little last call on the chin of good old Bobby Roode, and gives him a little sample of what he's going to have here at the pay-per-view. So, there we go. Well, this match ends as quickly as it started here. First, they didn't want to start the match. Come on, let's walk out of here. We don't need to do this. The match starts, then we have this chin music, and we move on from there. Again, it was somewhat entertaining, but it ended a little quick. After that, we have match number 4. Appears we had Crimson and Matt Morgan versus the Robbies, Robbie T and Robbie E. That's fair. This match ends when we have Robbie E pinned by Crimson. What actually happens is the carbon blueprint is applied on Robbie E's face after Robbie T cleans house, but Robbie E somehow gets in the match and pisses it all away. All right. So this match ends when, again, you got the carbon footprint on Robbie E, and then here comes Crimson. Thanks, buddy. Goes in there and just gets the pin. Of course, Matt Morgan isn't too happy about that, but they win the match, the music plays, and they move on from there. This is something that's going to build up apparently to be a versus here. Apparently it looks like Crimson might be the heavy in this situation. Sooner this breaks up, the better. It's getting boring. Yeah, anyway. After that, we have a little right here where AJ Styles comes out, and he mentions here Christopher Daniels, Kazarian. Why are you guys still doing this to me? Here comes Christopher Daniels and Kazarian mentioning, oh, buddy, the reason why people start turning their backs on you is because of you. Kazarian mentions, have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered, why don't I have any friends? Why are my friends turning against me? It's you, buddy. It's not anybody else. It's you. Kind of makes a man think. You're going through the right, taking the right paths, eating all your vitamins, and eating all your vegetables, and yet your friends are turning their backs on you. Either one of two things. Either you're the actual problem, or this is wrestling, people. We got to have foes. All right? Interesting where the angle is coming from here on Impact, and look forward here to the next episode. I'd like to see where this little storyline is going. This is going to be another alliance. Everybody knows that Fortune is gone, so what are we going to do from here? Interesting. It's like not a place right now for the phenomenal AJ Styles, which is a shame. How could you not have a place for AJ Styles? Apparently, they got to find one. All right. After that, we have the main event, match number 5. Kurt Angle and Gunner versus Garrett Jarrett and Jeff Hardy. Before I continue, let me mention that when AJ Styles was talking to these two guys, talking about Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, there was an appearance of the ultimate asshole talking about Mr. Anderson. So he makes his appearance back from the dead. He's been gone for many moons, apparently Mexico, but he comes back better than ever, and he's looking great. So he's supposed to be having a match next week versus the actual X Division superstar here. We'll see how that transpires. Should be interesting. Very entertaining, to say the least, next week. But let's talk about the main event of this week. Match number 5, Kurt Angle and Gunner versus Garrett Jarrett and Jeff Hardy. The mystery partner is revealed. It's Jeff Hardy. And the match, very, very entertaining here. It was nice to see Garrett Jarrett do a little bit more than he's used to doing. Cleans house, sets the table up for the flying wonton, done from, of course, Jeff Hardy on top of his opponent Gunner, and on Kurt Angle. And there we go. Victory for the newly acquired tag team here of Jeff Hardy and Garrett Jarrett. This ends really quick because as soon as they throw their hands up in the air, it goes to the other shows. So, again, entertaining show. A couple of more of these impacts before the actual pay-per-view this week, and then the following week, of course, is the pay-per-view. We will have, again, this review show next week for that edition of Impact, and also a preview show, special preview show on Saturday, just before Victory Road, giving the predictions. For myself, Cesar Scorpio, UnifiedWrestling.com. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys next week.